Hello everyone! After some speed running of the setup, we're good to go for our very next run, which will be Resident Evil 7 run by Aragold. I do want to mention, before we start, we still have a bid war going on for this very run, and that's whether you want to cure Mia or Zoe. It will close about 1 hour into the run, so if you have any preference, please make sure to get your donations in before that time. With that being said, I'm gonna hand it over right away to our runner. Take it away!
What's up, guys? I'm Aragold, or Aragoldmate, on Twitch, and I run Resident Evil 7. We're going to be running New Game Easy today, and on commentary, I've got the world record holder of this category, Captain Ezekiel.
Hi, I'm Captain Ezekiel. I also play this game, and I'm here to tell you all the stuff that Ara doesn't want to tell you while he's focusing.
Perfect. Right, I think that's all the introduction we need before we start. Are we ready on time?
We should be good to go.
All right, on start. 3, 2, 1, start. Isan Genki. So, this game follows a completely new character in Resident Evil. He's called Ethan. This is his wife Mia, and she is babysitting in quotation marks a bioweapon that she doesn't tell you about that ends up getting her stranded and captured in Louisiana. And pretty much the premise of this game is you're going to the Louisiana house to try and rescue her, but it doesn't quite go to plan. There's this intro sequence is fairly long. Our first section of this run here is called Guest House. We got this 2.5-minute cutscene, and then we've got up to the 15-minute mark. Pretty much 15-minute mark. We've got the Guest House, which is the first house in the game, first of 3, because the Bakers have loads of money and can afford 3 houses. And this is where we originally find Mia. It's very slow paced to begin with. It's what puts a lot of runners off of the game, just because there's a lot of auto scrollers and waiting to absurd random triggers and stuff like that. But the run, it doesn't take long after Guest House for the run to pick up a lot. Yeah, is there anything else you'd like to say, Zeke, about Guest House?
Yeah, I mean, that's mostly, he's not wrong. Like, there's a kind of an auto scroller that you'll see happen with Guest House. Like, when he says it puts people off, it's because when you have to reset and you have to do Guest House again, that's what really starts to get you, really starts to rustle your jimmies a bit. But it really does pick up. There's a lot of stuff that goes on, from like out of bounds to really optimized boss fights and stuff like that. Start to play. In fact, we're using New Game. This category doesn't utilize the New Game Plus items, which is the most popular category. So it's a little bit trickier. And ironically enough, you get the strongest gun in the game not playing New Game Plus. So it's going to be a lot of interesting stuff you'll see coming up. But Guest House, like Ara said, one thing you didn't mention is Guest House is extremely optimized. Very few people can consistently get a sub 15-minute Guest House, Ara being one of them. And maybe one of the others, and it's extremely optimized because we have to do it on repeat constantly every single time we run this game. So you'll notice, and I'll make sure to touch on when he does these really cool gamer strats to optimize his Guest House.
Yeah, Guest House is very irritating in that respect, but we do get a lot of practice out of it at least. However, it can be very difficult to have to keep going back to the beginning, especially since there's a 2.5-minute cutscene you got to watch. So yeah, but we've finally gained control of Ethan. We're in Louisiana in some random place. We just walked past their second of 3 houses, and we're just approaching the house in order to try and find Mia. Up here, maybe we'll get it, maybe we won't. There's a thing called Daddy Boost. It's completely random. We think it's to do with like the instance your game's running in or something. Sometimes you'll get a random speed boost here. I didn't get it, but that speed boost can save you anywhere from like a second to like 2.5 to 3, if I'm correct, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's pretty mental, and considering it's completely random. However, if you get a PB, then after you get the Daddy Boost, you then got to run against it every single run, so you're consistently going to be +3 down going into Guest House, which isn't ideal. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. We're just coming into Guest House, which means we're going to do our first retry of the run, if you'd like to explain that, Zeke.
Yeah, so you'll see we'll do quite a few retries in this run. This one specifically is to make Ethan faster. The logic behind this is that when Ethan's outside of guest house, he's a lot faster than he is inside of guest house. He has 2 running states. When we retry there for some reason, and some retries this happens, Ethan reverts back to that original running state. So now Ethan's fast again. But you'll see a few different retries, and all for different reasons. But this is one of the more important ones. And there's another one in guest house that will do the same thing later.
Yeah, and here we go. We swapped to 30 FPS there to get through that hole, because pretty much there's less hitboxes and hurt boxes when you're in a lower FPS, meaning that it makes it easier to slide past things. So when we're trying to, a lot of times when we're trying to get into tight crevices or get through tight spaces, we'll switch to 30 FPS, and it makes it quicker to squeeze through. There's a lot of FPS manipulation in this game, and there's 7 or 8 retries for 2 or 3 different reasons that we do it.
Yep. And that FPS thing that Ara explained also works in the reverse. So the more frames there are, the more hit and hurt boxes that exist. And there's not really much to explain about that, other than you'll see it later in a boss fight called the Mia 2 fight, and that really explains itself.
Yeah, the FPS being tied to the hit and hurt boxes means that the axe in this game is incredibly overpowered, so we use the axe for the first and second boss fight, which must be quite embarrassing to Mia when she loses a boss fight. When she loses a fight, she has a chainsaw for to a man with an axe. However, it's similar with RE2 as well, where the knife, the higher your FPS is in RE2, the more hits you can get with one slash with the knife. And they eventually realized how OP that was and changed it for RE3. But we can manipulate it in the guest house to make it significantly easier. Right, now we're with Mia. She looks weirdly surprised, considering that at the beginning of the game she told us that she'd sent us an email to come and get her. Although, I don't know, you probably would have missed that, since I can't imagine many of you in chat speak Japanese. But pretty much, she said, come and get me. She gave you an address, and then you come to get her, and she's like, why are you here? I didn't ask you to come. So, all is revealed, but at the beginning of the game, you're especially confused as to why she's so confused. And this is the 3-minute auto-scroller. This is the best part of the game. We all love it. All of the runners of this game look forward to it. You get to do many fun things, like run into Mia, crouch up and down very fast, spin around your bolt cutters for entertainment. The Ezekiel here and the world record holder in New Game Plus, Ross Rossi, have worked tirelessly to try and find a way to skip Guest House. However, they've had no luck yet, and probably will not have any luck ever by the looks of things, which is unfortunate, because this is probably the most tedious part of the whole run. I'd say more tedious actually than the cutscene, because at least in the cutscene you can just kind of sit back and whatever and like go get a drink or something, but in this you've got to constantly be moving forward, even though this invisible wall's stopping you from ever getting past her.
Yeah, we've toyed with the idea, like, if there was a possibility of, like, going out of bounds and skipping. I mean, there might be something in Guest House that might allow you to go out of bounds. It's unlikely, but if there is, you would still have to wait for Mia to get all the way to the end of Guest House, which, I mean, in a sense, it could be faster. You could wait 15 minutes, you could, I don't know, rock a nap or do whatever you want, man. But there's no real, I don't think there's any logical or possible way you could skip Guest House unless you play no Guest House category.
Yeah, no Guest House is a category, is a meme category created by some of the mods of RE7. Pretty much so many people complained about having to play Guest House, they just made a save that you can load from that completely skips Guest House. It's less popular than you'd think, actually, but it's because it only works on the Zero D Japanese version of the game, which not many people have. As far as I'm aware, you can't import... Is it that you can't import saves into Steam, or is it just they haven't made a Steam save for it?
I think it's just they haven't made a Steam save for it. I think that was just the drawback. I don't know the limitations of save importing for Steam, though, so maybe someday.
Maybe someday, that's it. Right, This is the end of the auto-scroller section before we get to run around for about 20 seconds and then another minute-long cutscene. But there's kind of where the run starts, after that minute-long cutscene, because we get our first boss fight of the game, Mia 1, which is defeated, as we said earlier, with an axe. There you go. You've got to stand next to that pillar and look at a very, like, exact place on the wall to your left in order to get her to throw herself. Does she get thrown through the wall? Does she throw herself through the wall? I'm not really sure. I've played hundreds of hours of this game and I still don't know. It's unclear, but either way.
I think she might jump through the wall herself.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure, but we'll never know, I suppose. We can't see it. But either way, she throws herself through the wall. We run through, back up, back down, and now we've got another minute-long cutscene where she's seen having a bit of a moment, I suppose you could say. She gets a knife out of nowhere. She didn't have it a couple of seconds ago, but we'll ignore it. And Ethan manages to go through all of this, gets a knife through his hand, and the only noise he makes is, ah! Which is quite impressive, really.
Very realistic.
Yeah, a lot of complaints about this game, especially from casual players, is that Ethan's kind of characterless. He's very monotone, he'll get shot 6 times and then just look at them confused and say, why did you do that? And yeah, so that's one of the complaints of this game. But it's looking, he's reappearing in RE8 actually, and he's looking to have more character. I hope he does at least, because I feel like Ethan could be a very developed character if written correctly, and I feel like that's the direction they're going to try and take him. Right.
So what R's doing here is he's lining up. Basically, what the game wants you to do is to walk around, and then you'll run back over Mia, and she would stand up and spook you. But we're gonna not do that. R's gonna line himself up with a specific spot, kind of wait for Mia to wake up.
Okay.
If you're in the right spot, it works usually. It's time gated, so it's gonna work on the same time every time if you do it right. If you do it wrong, the timer kind of resets on you. You have to reposition a bunch of times. Then for the Mia 1 boss fight, like he said, this is the fight kind of happens kind of quickly. Ideally, he wants to kill Mia in one swing. At the very
2 there.
2, yes. 2 is fine as well. Like 1 is like the most optimal you could possibly be. 2 is normal. 2 is fine. It's because of the way, like we described earlier, FPS and hitboxes. Basically, Mia needs to be hit 3 times with that axe swing. And if you don't get the multiple hit registration from the high FPS, then you have to swing again to kill her. And then you mash spacebar or your block move when she grabs you, and it usually finishes the fight instantly. But otherwise, still a good fight.
Yeah, a 2-hit, any more than a 2-hit is kind of I'd say a failure of that fight. However, when you run this game all the time, you have to be like quite literally trying to get 3 hits if you do that, because even if you're not very good at the game, just by chance, you're probably going to hit her twice on one of the swings because of how the hit registration works due to the high FPS. What we wanted to do there is swing through and get all 3 hits in one, but, set 2 is still good. Right, here we go. We've got to try and line ourselves up perfectly here. Why is that? Ezekiel.
So you'll notice R will stand directly in front of things, and when he interacts with them, even though the game says he can interact with them further away, because you can. Ethan, when he interacts with stuff from an angle that isn't directly in front of it, he will shift himself slowly, like he broke both his ankles or something. He'll shift super slowly to get in front of it before he actually uses it. Whereas if you just stand directly in front of it, it does it instantly. So that's why that's kind of like a top runner thing with this game. You'll notice he'll line up with stuff when he uses it, so to save those extra second or 2.
Yeah, it's very minimal, but it means a lot at the high level. So you've got to make sure you're doing it. And people will reset if they get 2 bad animations at the high level. If you were to get a bad bolt cutters animation both in the basement and up here, that's like a second lost, and that's just it's quite sad really to have that happen. But especially in New Game Plus, it's every half a second matters, so it's important that we make sure we're being optimal. Right. Yeah.
Definitely. And if you played this game casually, you'll notice you're probably confused why Ethan still has his arm and why the screen went black. The Sarah D, the Japanese version that Ara mentioned earlier, is the censored version of the game. We run it to save about 21.5 seconds throughout the run due to censored boss fights and a censored key grab. So you'll notice a bunch of stuff looks very strange.
Yeah, there's a few things in this run that change, like no decapitation is pretty much no body part removal is allowed in the Sarah D version, so no hands will come off, no legs will come off. Right, anyway. Would you like to explain Mia 2?
Yep. So kind of like with Mia 1, R's going to line himself up so he can get a meaty swing at Mia 1. The idea is to hit her and cover most of her body with one swing, to hit her as many times with one swing, and you'll get her in one hit, just like that. Basically, the idea is that Mia 1 takes a bunch of hits to kill with the axe, because you're not supposed to kill her with the axe, you're supposed to use the gun. But due to the FPS stuff, you can get one juicy swing like that and just take her out in one swing. That is what you're always looking for when you're looking to do Mia 2, because every subsequent swing after the first one missed is like an extra second. So,
Yeah, I think, is it
really
0.8
well
for
done.
every extra swing?
Yeah, it's and she starts running around and stuff. It's really annoying.
Yeah, so, yeah, the right hand doesn't come off because of the censored version of the game. You'll also see that Lucas's hand doesn't come off if the unspeakable happens and I get caught by Jack. My leg won't come off. Yeah, and the cop's head doesn't come off. There's a loads of things. Just anything that could come off doesn't come off in this version, which actually leads to a significant amount of time save. And we're hoping that RE8 doesn't get time save from the Sarah D version, because otherwise I'd have to buy the game again. Right, here's one of the long cutscenes in the game. How long is it? Like 2.5 minutes overall from getting punched in the face to the end of the dinner scene?
I think so. It's about that time. Yeah, it's too long. It's just way too long.
Too long. You can't skip cutscenes in this game.
Yeah,
There's-
they're all rendered in engine for
Yeah.
some reason.
You might have just yeah, you might have just had some frame drops, but all stabilized now. Apologies for any frame drops that might happen during the run. Right. Yeah, this is the first time we meet the whole Baker family. We've got Lucas, who, as you're going to see here, doesn't actually get his hand off. We've got Granny, not important, forget about her. We've got Jack, and we've got Marguerite. This is our first introduction to the family, which, as you can see, is pretty impactful considering they're eating human intestine, and Lucas just had his hand cut off and said "not again." So it's pretty incredible that your first impression of the family is being strapped to a chair, being fed intestines by some crazy man with a ragged beard and a receding hairline.
You gotta call it a hairline like that, man. Come on. He puts work. I mean, all jokes aside, this is like in my opinion, it's like the iconic cutscene of any game from the horror genre between 2017 and like 2019. I don't think anything has like topped this yet. This is like, 2016, 2019 is an amazing cutscene. This is done so well, like in terms of like kind of painting the picture of what you're gonna expect.
Yeah, it sets such an image in your head of what the Bakers are like. It's just, yeah, I think honestly it's incredibly done. Right, anyway, we're coming up to the most difficult part of the whole run now. If you'd like to explain that, Zeke.
Yeah. So what's coming up is Jack Hallway. This is the heavy reset point in the game. Basically, what R's gonna do is he's gonna run down a hallway. He needs to get around Jack, grab a key, interact with the door, and get back around Jack. Now, there's a skip that can happen if Jack behaves. What Ara wants is for Jack to lunge and miss his grab. Otherwise, the second alternative is to block a hit, which is what he ended up getting there, which is fine. It kind of eliminates the possibility for what we call the wall skip, which is a skip that involves baiting Jack around the corner and triggering a cutscene to skip ahead. It's about a 4-second time save, not a huge deal. What's important is that he didn't get grabbed, and then what can happen is you can get grabbed again. But he avoided that, so that's second best scenario here.
Yeah, not getting wall skip is about what, a 3 to 4 second time loss.
Yep.
But
just-
it's the swing there is the second best outcome. Getting grabbed is a real pain because there's so many different outcomes that can come from getting grabbed. Like he can swing, he can grab you again, he can go to grab you and miss. It's the most unpredictable part of the run. When you get grabbed by Jack, and also one of the most optimized, just because Ross Rossi thought it was a good idea to show us all wall skip and start putting in his runs. So
yeah, if you had to blame anyone, I'm not saying you should, but I mean, if you were going to blame anyone,
yeah,
it would probably be Ross Rossi.
yeah. Not saying you should. If you were to.
All right, so he answers the phone, and now he's gonna go high five that wall for no reason. Actually, the reason is so the cop shows up at the window. The cop won't show up at the window unless you, I don't know, go check the trash or something. Here he is.
Yeah, this don't get too attached to this cop. He'll be dead in about 2 minutes. Sorry, spoiler alert, but yeah, don't get an affinity for this guy. He I know he does have a sexy Japanese voice, but you should
He really does. He has the best Japanese voice out of every other character on Japanese, man. And I'll say it, like, he has a good voice.
Yeah, but it's a shame it went to waste. Like, couldn't they have used like one of the bad voices on this guy? Couldn't this guy have voiced Ethan?
Yeah, right? Oh god, dude, no kidding.
Imagine listening to this guy for an hour and a half. I'd be way happier. Right, we're gonna get given a knife, and Ethan's gonna go, "What am I gonna do with a knife?" And then he's immediately gonna break a box with a knife, and then kill one of the bosses with mainly a knife.
Welcome to the cum zone.
He does love the knife, actually.
Hang on. I need to pause. My alert just went off. That's not good. Hang on. How do I mute my alerts? Sorry, guys. This is just... How would I go about muting my alerts?
Just delete them out of your OBS scene. Just re-add them again later.
They're not in my OBS scene. Is the issue though? Not in this one.
They're gonna go off in any scene, so just go to the other scene and just remove them.
All right. So are they in this scene? Yep. Sorry, guys. Hang on.
In the meantime, we still haven't received any donations towards the bid war going on between Zoe and Mia later on in this run. So if you have a preference, please make sure to get your donation in.
Alright, we should be good now. Awesome. Cool. Right, so here we go. We're going to use the knife to break that box, even though he says what we're going to do with the knife. He immediately uses a knife. And then we're going to go and do the first boss fight. Jack 1 with nothing but a knife. Well, mainly nothing but a knife.
Yeah, a little bit more than a knife, but basically what Ara's gonna do here is gonna talk to the cop, and he's gonna have a good time in about a second. That cop is, but what you're gonna see happen on New Game is all the boss fights are different. So if you see anything in New Game Plus, forget what you've seen because nothing's gonna be the same. Ara is gonna run up and he's gonna stab Jack once, and then he's gonna grab the gun that's behind Jack. What Ara needs to do, and he really is lucky with Jack not freaking out, but what he needs to do is grab the key and get into the car, and what this is going to do is the other car is going to force Jack to get into the car. Jack basically is programmed to jump into the car when Ethan's in the car because he got out at the same time. Jack will get in. He's going to knife him 14 times and then shoot him 2 to 3 times in the head with the handgun, which should, if done correctly, kill Jack.
Yep, and he's dead. Yeah, I think the 2 to 3 times. I think it depends on when your first shot is. So I think that if you take your first shot later, there you only have to use 2, but it's more risky.
Yeah, and you also saw that Ara organized his inventory a bit there. Inventory management is massive. in this run, especially in game in the runner. No, sorry, in the categories where it's a new game. So it's basically going to be a lot of inventory management to make sure his cursor's in the right spot to use items and stuff right away. Also have room for stuff like ammo and healing items.
Yeah, this game's unique in that it remembers where your cursor is. So you can do some very interesting inventory management, which normally wouldn't be possible in other RE games. You can preemptively put your cursor somewhere for an item that's going to be used in 5 minutes. Whereas usually in other RE games, you clear out your inventory as to have all your items as close to the first spot as possible. So yeah, it's different, but I think it's good. I personally, one of my favorites, if not my favorite RE menu, but people can basically differ on that. I know a lot of people have a lot of different opinions.
Yeah, everyone's entitled to their opinion on it. The correct opinion is that RE7 has the best inventory. And if you disagree, then I'm sorry, but you're wrong. That's just the way. I don't make the rules. That's just the way it goes. RE7's inventory is live. And in my opinion, I don't like the game's timer to run, but the game to pause when I'm in inventory. But we're not going to get into that one. R is setting up for probably one of the biggest tricks of the run, which is the out of bounds, which is a little bit... I'm not going to say easier, but it's a little bit more streamlined on New Game versus New Game Plus because you don't have like the Jack shenanigans that are as hard to deal with. All what I was going to do is going to trigger the bathtub, grab some ammo, pick up the wood statuette, which is going to then force Jack to show up into the bathroom here. R is going to basically get out of this little chokehold he's in. He's going to pop Jack once in the leg and run around Jack. This is basically going to slow Jack down so R can get downstairs and interact with the clock puzzle so he can get the dog head. Now we're kind of hoping Jack also falls down from upstairs around the time he finishes grabbing the dog head. He puts his cursor over the statuette. Jack drops maybe a little bit early, but I think it's fine. The idea is that he just needs to catch Jack before Jack goes into that room. He shoots at the ground so Jack can hear him, and Jack starts following him. He turns around so he doesn't push too far up or else Jack will break through the wall. Heads the shot, will slow Jack down the hallway. This is all just a setup, so Jack will be out here when R is done with the puzzle. If Jack's too close, he can't do the puzzle. If Jack's too far, Jack's going to get lost. Jack is key to getting out of bounds. So he does the shadow puzzle, one quick rotation. He's a god gamer, that's how that works. And Jack's going to basically bust out of these doors here in a second. And R is going to bait. That's the fastest I've ever seen Jack on New Game get out of that room. He's going to bring Jack up the stairs, and he's going to shoot him in the leg. Once he's up the stairs a little bit, he's going to swap FPS to squeeze past Jack. He's going to line up against the wall, and Jack's going to always do a spin grab to spin Ethan around. Because Ethan's shorter than Jack, something breaks with the game and forces him out of bounds.
Yeah, it's one of the only glitches in the game, really, like that we take advantage of. You can get out of bounds in loads of places, but this is one of the only places where you really like take advantage of it during this run.
Yeah, he switches FPS here to kind of make it easier to fall back in bounds so that the game doesn't, and he also pauses to buffer it a bit so the game doesn't load before he does, rather so the game doesn't load while he's in the rafters, because if it does that, then he'll get stuck up there. He's kind of stuck in the rafters basically, and he has to. The game will force him back. Get the dissection room key, and he sets up his inventory as well to prepare for that. So then now he's going to interact with the door to put that in after popping and moving in the zone just to slow him down a little bit.
I feel like I'm missing something in my inventory. Okay, you know what? Whatever. I'm not sure.
Is it Kempler?
If it is, that's not the end of the world because you can get it from the locker outside Jack 2. So that's not too bad actually if it is. I hope it's the chem fluid and not the gunpowder.
Yeah, so this boss fight, Jack 2 now. Jack 2, different strategy. I like the strategy versus the S. R has 10 enhanced ammo. He needs to drop 4 into Jack's head. He cannot miss. There's like no wiggle room to miss. So he's going to pop 4 times to the head and then 6 times into his weak point. And he stands behind him to force Jack to go into the grate.
Oh no. Okay, here we go. That should be okay. They're a bit slow to sort out my inventory because I was confused as to what was missing. But it's okay. It's fine.
If he doesn't saw there, the stagger jack, and he saws his head, we'll put force jack down. Now, because I'm not sure how this fight's gonna end, usually what we would do is ours gonna saw his weak spot, and then saw again directly to the weak spot. And if you hit the damage point, you should just die.
Cool.
Okay,
There you go.
I thought it was gonna fail because you shot late. I thought you might have missed the damage window when you went to like do the thingy. So, but you got it, so it's good.
I don't actually think anything was missing.
Oh, it
Weirdly
just felt
enough.
weird.
Yeah, it just felt weird.
Yeah, it looked like everything was there.
Yeah, let me check the shotgun shells up here. Cool.
Yeah, so the thing about like usually in like a new game run or a speed run, you like even on a marathon, sometimes you just trust that you have what you have and to pick up later if you don't have it. The
Yeah.
catch with Resident Evil games, specifically RE7, is they really don't like giving you stuff. So if the biggest killer is that if he misses shotgun shells. Missing shotgun shells can really doom you because you need a certain amount for Marguerite later. So the magic number when you go to Marguerite is 14 when you go to interact with her for March 1. So he's on pace, he has it all now. So it's important that he checks because he doesn't want to get into that situation. But he does check 2 fights. So good job on that one. That was a well done fight.
Yeah, I thought I was missing something. As far as I'm aware, I'm not missing anything.
I suppose we'll find out eventually.
Yeah, but my inventory looks okay now. I was missing. I had when I went to get the dissection key. I had 2 more empty slots in my inventory than usual, which was weird. But I don't know. It was probably handgun ammo and something else. I don't know what I could be missing though. But it looks okay. It's looking good. So we're just gonna pretend it is okay and go with it.
Yeah, so that's the glory. Like I said, the glory is we'll eventually find out if he is missing anything, but hopefully it's nothing. So he picks up the broken shotgun here. This is where the routing gets different and things kind of go a little AWOL compared to New Game Plus. Is we go and start picking up a bunch of stuff and things. Specifically, he picked up the broken shotgun. That is basically a double entendre because the shotgun is broken and it's also broken. So basically, the shotgun needs to be repaired, and also once the shotgun is repaired, it is the strongest gun in the game.
Yeah, the shotgun's insane. The shotgun is so much fun to use, but it's incredibly overpowered. I guess they thought it was balanced because you had to find a repair kit, but you can just Google where is repair kit, and it's 30 seconds outside the house. So, I guess not as balanced as they once thought. However, here we go. We got the trailer, which is a good break. Normally, this is a phone call long enough that you could like go to the toilet, probably get some water or whatever. But either way, it's the longest phone call in the game, and the second to last one we got to pick up. Because some of the phone calls in this run aren't necessary. For why, I don't know, but they just aren't.
Yeah, this game's weird about its triggers and everything, and especially like that out of bounds that Ari did earlier. There's gonna be a trigger he has to go back for, or else the game will soft lock on him.
Yeah, the game likes to make you do things in the exact order that it wants you to do it in. There's not much leniency when it comes to that. If you don't do the game exactly how the game wants you to do the game, it will ruin your day. It will not let you move. It will soft lock you completely. It's not a good time.
Oh yeah.
But I'm a god gamer, so that's not going to happen. Isn't that right, Ezekiel?
Oh yeah.
Right.
This old house now. Very exciting.
Old house. I'd say probably the best part of the run because it's personally for me I enjoy it the most because there's no interrupting cutscenes. Like from here to Marge 2, there is absolutely no cutscenes apart from like a 15-second one. In a bit, but apart from that, it's just non-stop run, pick up this, run to this, use that item, pick up new item, go use that item, get thrown down the stairs by Marguerite because she's buff.
She's so swole. Marguerite gets look at her. She needs a dentist appointment, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
The old house is nice and all. Like you said, it's pretty straightforward, point A to point B. But there's a couple skips that are kind of Monka-S. And then it has, in my opinion, the most Monka-S boss fight on New Game Easy. Because of, it's similar to what's called Jack 3. You have little room for error. Margarita, I think, has a smaller room for error because if you mess up, then she's just gone. She just goes away. But we'll find out that later.
I personally find Jack 3 harder than Marge 2. I have only failed the new strat of Marge 2 once. Like, properly failed it as in she, like, leaves the room, and that was earlier today, so I guess we'll pray. But Jack 3, I mess up significantly more than I do Marge 2. Marge 2 is... Jack 3 is hard to get optimal, because you pretty much have to wait until like the exact time that his iframes end and then shoot his next eye, which means that to get that fight perfect you need to like literally be robotically perfect, which is something that is not an issue on New Game Plus because you just like saw it until it dies, which is way less difficult because soaring does infinite damage pretty much until you let go of your left click.
He's not wrong. The saw is the best weapon, like, period, in the game.
Animation, you've got to start from... I'm seeing lots of Fs in the chat. I think it might have died.
I think you're still good. You just had some frame drops.
Oh, really? My OBS says it was okay. Weird.
Frame drops here or there on your stream side, but we're good to go. We're running still.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I thought the stream had died because earlier they had some tech issue. I was worried that it happened again, but no, it was clearly just me. Soz. Right, here, 2 shotgun shells. A handgun bullet. Oh, look, she's dead. Not really a boss fight. It's more of a bit of a pushover, really. There's not much there that you can do to mess it up, apart from missing a shot, which is just catastrophic. But apart from that, there's nothing really you can do to mess that fight up. Right.
Yeah, that's one of those fights that on New Game is faster than it is on New Game Plus, because on New Game Plus you use the Albert with enhanced ammo. It takes 3 shots and it takes 1 Albert and 3 pistol shots, whereas on New Game it takes 2 shotgun shots and 1 pistol shot, which is wild to me. That's how that works.
Yeah, it's the shotgun. This fight is quicker on New Game than New Game Plus because just the shotgun has just such immense amounts of damage. Unfortunately, it doesn't change. It doesn't make any of the other fights faster because that's the only fight in the game we can't use the saw on, and the saw is the weapon that really makes the New Game Plus fights really quick. Right, so you're gonna watch me drop off here. There you go. That was called Lantern Skip. If you'd like to explain that, Ezekiel.
Yeah, so basically what the game wanted you to do is it wanted you to go upstairs and see an empty light lantern holder, and it's missing a lantern. And you're like, oh, who has a lantern? Oh, Margarita has a lantern. So the game then wants you to walk out, look at the hole, Margarita transform into this big monster thing, and you jump down. What we do instead is we walk out and go to the left, and we stare up through the ceiling because Capcom did not anticipate that we would just try to look up through the ground at it. Which works, and then we just stare at it and we look down and Margarita's transformed. Then we want to drop into the hole at a very specific spot-ish and without running, and it basically drops Ethan in and skips the animation of Margarita transforming. So
Yeah, I don't know how much it saves, but I know it saves a lot.
And then we got Marge 2, which is the actual boss fight. So you see R went and blocked a hit and shot her 4 times with the shotgun. He's then going to run down, staring at the ground and force her to spawn above him. He's going to shoot her 2 more times to knock her down. Load again 2 more times in her stomach to kind of stagger her. Oh, she went to the ceiling.
What? That's never happened to me before, ever.
Oh, if you got that on your bingo card. He said
Oh,
the
no.
gamer thing. So Marguerite is giving him some problems here because she's like running around.
What just happened? Okay, whatever. No, it's fine. Where is she? Down here.
Basically, what happens is if Marguerite runs into the hole, she's gonna run off and try to spawn bugs somewhere, or has to listen to figure out where she's at.
Yeah.
Sounds like she may have gone upstairs potentially.
Yeah, it does sound like that, doesn't it? She's somewhere around here. One more Echo Lake Kate. Oh, don't worry. Yeah. Right, let me just make sure with the knife. Pretty much what you got to do when the boss fails. Use the knife. Luckily, the knife's quite overpowered, so that's okay. And we finished the fight. Not optimally, but we did our best. Not quite sure what happened there, Zeke, if you could explain, because I'm not sure.
So I think what actually happened is Ara might have been standing a bit too far forward when he staggered her after you broke her nest.
Yeah.
If you're too close to Marguerite after you break her nest, she's gonna want to get away from you. But the Ross strat that Ross developed was that you back up quite a bit, and Marguerite won't see that you're near her, and she'll instead try to jump and turn around and run to the nearest hole instead of going to the ceiling. I think it just may be a positional thing. The fight's really hard, guys. So like it's not super unlikely for stuff like that to happen. So basically, Marg was just too close, and so she jumped up to the ceiling. As to how she got to the wall on the other side, yeah, I have no clue how she went from being on the ceiling to being on the wall on the opposite side. That's actually something I've never seen before.
Yeah, I've never seen that either.
Because those are two different phases of the fight, basically. She's supposed to be on the ceiling and then on the ground, and then she can go to the wall. She didn't. I guess she's just parkour master.
Yeah, I'm really not sure what happened there. I'm not going to try and explain what happened there because I don't know what happened there. But I'm going to carry on. Right. That was, you know, all things considered, that Marge fight could have gone. I've seen it go worse, so I'm not particularly fussed. We're moving into Evie's little this is like her little area, I guess. She had like a whole section of the house to herself for some reason.
Yeah, definitely the scariest part of the game, casually speaking, in my opinion.
Yeah. Screen goes black, she goes stay away, and you think, oh well, okay, fine, I'll do what you want. Okay, fine, and you promptly leave. But that's slow, so we won't do that. We switch to 30. Switch to 30 FPS. Yeah, he just leaves. Switch to 30 FPS in that hole because, unlike New Game Plus, we don't have the walking shoes, which means that it's actually slower to not switch to 30 FPS in that hole than switch to 30 FPS. Right, this retry here is to skip this molded's iframes. Why it skips his iframes, don't know. It just does.
Basically, what happens is that molded takes forever to spawn in, and then later you can't kill something the second it spawns most of the time. So when you do that retry, what it actually does is it spawns the molded instantly, so that when you walk out, his iframes have ended, so you can kill him. Yeah.
This game has lots of little things that have taken, you know, things that I don't know how you find out. Like, how do you find out that, like, that specific retry will, like, do you test it or do you find it by random? I imagine you just find it one day, like, oh, probably quicker.
Yeah, it probably has something with someone trying to shoot him one time and it was like, what the hell, he didn't die. Let me retry, and then they retried it and he died that time. Like, okay, well, something was up. They just retried ever since.
Yeah, maybe. But there's lots of stuff like that in this game where you're like, how could someone have possibly found that? Like the cop triggering if you high-five the wall, or later on you can skip 3 seconds of making the serum if you high-five the item box. Both of those, I'm not. Yeah, the item box one especially, not a clue why that happens. Just go up to the item box, talk to it for a second, leave, and she's done with the serum early. Maybe she was shy while you were watching her, and if you leave the room, then she can do it properly.
I mean, you'd be nervous too if you had to make a life-saving serum and you're a redneck from Louisiana who probably doesn't have the education to do chemical bioengineering on the spot in a boathouse with a head and an arm.
Yeah, she takes a head and an arm and makes 2 life-saving cures. One of which well, I wouldn't say waste, but use on Jack later on. Anyway, we switch to 30 there to get past that crawling molded. He doesn't matter. We don't need to talk to him. He's irrelevant. And this is that right there was 17-second time save. if you might have missed it, picking up that key was a 17-second time save. Because the Zero D version of the game, the Japanese censored version, means that his head doesn't come off, which means you don't have to put your hand down his neck to grab the key. So just like that, 17 seconds. Which is...
Yeah, it's insane. It's
Yeah.
wild. That is so weird. We used to not run this game version. Then somebody picked it up one day, and then we all kind of had to do it if you wanted to be like a world record holder. Yeah. It's someone who's above average may or may not have picked up Zero D.
Yeah. Everyone was happy running their PAL NTSD version of the game. He thought, you know what? I like free time save. So here we are, spending 20 extra pounds, 25 extra dollars on the game.
Yeah, the word free is used lightly there. Like, it's not free. I would have to say that it's the most amount of money I've spent on 25 seconds in my life.
Second most for me. Right, let's get the shotgun shells. And this is one of the hardest puzzles in the game. It's quite literally just a shadow puzzle, but the game wants you to be so precise with it. Yep, there you go. Crash incoming.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh no, it's fine now. Don't worry, don't worry. Sorry, it's just every so often.
Yeah, the tricky part about the shadow puzzle is on PC, it's annoying because you're using the mouse and keyboard. So it's a little bit harder to go slow with it, and because the game allows us to move it really early, it's really easy to mess it up because of how perfect that one needs to be. It's super frustrating.
Yeah. Also a reminder before we go into the Lucas section that there is an incentive for Zoe and Mia. I'm definitely not on PB pace anymore, so pick Zoe if you like. I don't really care. In fact, Zoe's probably the better choice. Zoe's done nothing but help you throughout this game, and Mia is evil. But, you know, make your own informed decision.
Yeah, it would be really a shame if R were to be on, like, let's say, like, world record pace, right? It'd be really sad if he was on that kind of pace and, like, the chat voted for, like, Zoe or something, which extends the run by 1 whole minute. It's a good thing that isn't going to happen to Ara.
Yeah, that would be unfortunate, like, if it was to happen to someone. But I've never seen it happen.
Yeah, I mean,
So, yeah, let's not have a first today. Right, another long cutscene. Who's excited? I sure am.
you guys like your fingernails?
Yeah. If you were squeamish, you might want to look away in a minute.
Yeah, I hope you don't like fingernails.
Yeah,
Either does Lucas.
yeah, don't get attached to Lucas's fingernails either. First the cop, now Lucas's fingernails. Make sure you're not too attached, because they won't be attached in a second either. Quickly check my splits. Plus 49, that's so sick.
Would now be a good time to plug some of what BSG is and what we do?
Now's perfect.
Ah, okay, great, thank you. We are the Benelux Speedrunner Gathering. We organize bi-monthly gatherings in the Benelux for speedrunners. Due to the situation surrounding COVID-19, we're currently doing our events online for the time being. This event features streamers from both the Benelux and the rest of the world bringing you entertainment during the lockdown. We're raising money for Mind, which is a nationwide organization committed to prevent mental health issues and to support everyone who has dealt with mental issues themselves or within their family. All of your donations will go to Mind.
Yeah, Mind is an excellent cause. I'd urge anyone who's watching right now, if you can spare some money to donate, because they're genuinely incredible cause. Yeah. And with that charitable message, I hope that it took your mind off the fact that Lucas just removed 2 of his fingernails.
They were getting in the way.
Yeah,
I respect it.
they were annoying it.
The part that bothers me about this cutscene the most is the corners of Lucas's eyes. They're kind of worn, red, and torn a little bit. That bothers me. It basically paints the image that Lucas has been awake for a very long time. But what we have here now is the bomb gauntlet. Now, what Ara's going to do is he's going to swap the pistol to take care of 2 bombs that are in front of him. One's going to be directly in front, one's behind a mannequin. He's going to then line up to shoot a bomb on the other side of this door. And he's going to take care of these other two that are on the ceiling and under this table so he can run through. And he's going to hit the RNG box. Good RNG on that box. That was really good RNG. And then now he's got...
Wouldn't have minded the heal, actually. But there you go.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're missing some health. He's going to block this bomb here. Yeah, the health probably would have been good, too. But otherwise, that was really good. They missed a shot. Nothing went wrong.
Yeah, that was a pretty good bomb section, actually. Neat. Now we need to deposit. Keys, crank. I can't remember after that, but I'll remember when I see it. Keys, crank, knife, ammo. Move this along here. Cool.
Basically, why he's throwing items away is because after he's finished with the barn section of this run, Lucas is going to force you to get rid of items. So you want to have as little as your inventory as possible so you don't lose as much time putting them away.
Oh, I missed the bomb there, but that's okay. So I got a healing item. Right. If goes ideally, we should kill this molded with 10 enhanced ammo. However, things don't always go ideally, as I'm sure you've already seen. So we bring the shotgun for safety. I know there's a new strat. I don't do the new strat. I don't know how much quicker the new strat is.
About 4.5 seconds.
4.5 seconds quicker.
The idea behind this fight, basically I was going to plug the battery in and then the fight's going to start, is there's a fat molded in this elevator. Now on New Game Plus, and even on New Game, you can shoot him as he's coming down, but you do less damage to him as he's coming down. So the idea is 10 enhanced handgun shots will kill him after the door opens. You can't shoot him too quickly in the head, or else he will get very mad, and he'll like choke himself and you actually can't do damage to him anymore. So ideally, ours going from the vomit, I'm going to pop him 1, 2, 3 to get him to stagger. He's going to unload the last 7 into his head, which should kill him. Just like that. The tricky parts about this fight is it's time gated on this button press. So sometimes if you're even super duper fast, you're not even going to save extra time. But yeah, that fight, that was really well done. That fight could get real spooky if you start to miss shots on him.
Alright. Cool.
You would think that as the fat molded, I used to think when I first casually played it that shooting him in the stomach was his weak point, but it isn't. The fat molded is naturally resistant to all types of ammo, but he still takes the most damage in the head.
Yeah, it's interesting. I also thought that on my casual playthrough, they'd take the most damage at the stomach, but I suppose Capcom wanted to subvert our expectations. The only
they did that
thing...
with Marge as well.
Yeah. Okay. Right. And we're into Lucas section. Pick up a candle off this scary looking man, and we run through. Get the candle put out by the water, and then Lucas speaks for a bit about why you shouldn't swear because there's children in the building. Even though he tore his fingernails off in front of a 9-year-old girl a minute ago. But we'll ignore it. Right.
Yeah, we'll just ignore that.
We'll pretend he didn't do that. Doesn't matter. Right, this section you have to get a valve to turn off the water, even though Ethan could cover the candle with his hand and immediately light the cake. However, Ethan's too stupid for that, as I'm sure you're now aware, considering he drove to Louisiana over one email to save his wife he hadn't seen in 3 years. And then, you know, on your casual playthrough, you're supposed to watch a tape where this film crew goes through the very place that you have to go and then all die, and he decides it's a good idea to then go through that exact place and hope not to die. Either way, his intelligence is questionable, but this entire section is now finished in that time I was speaking. You don't need to do any extra steps to this section. You just have to do the bare minimum because you already know how to solve it. So, yeah.
I'm very surprised about this. Is that the game didn't make you do the tape before doing this puzzle, considering how strict it is on a lot of its like cutscenes, not cutscenes, but like just triggers in general. But I guess it doesn't make you do many tapes except for one. So
Yeah, there's only one tape in the whole game, and it's the worst part of the run because there's 2 bits that can go massively wrong.
Oh yeah. And he's being generous when he says massively wrong. Like they're literally the biggest time loss in a skip that exists in the run is during the tape.
Yep. By massively long, I mean run-endingly long. Wrong. Okay.
It almost undoes Sarah D.
Yeah.
It's so long. Got a lot of shotgun shells here. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's because I got those from the box earlier. Just lucky. Yeah, you need what is it? How many shotgun shells to finish off Jack? 15, 14?
13.
13.
Like, a number there, but I mean that'd be way too Monka-esque for me to be trying to do it with 13. I'd be too nervous.
13 perfect. 15 you're feeling a little safer. Any more than like 16 is good. I'm probably going to be going into this fight with about 24, so I should be okay. You'll go into this fight with about 15, 16. However, the random drops in the boxes mean that sometimes you get more.
Yeah, the box RNG in this category is what makes it a little bit different. It's like any other new game category we have to utilize items. The boxes are either your best friend or your worst enemy. Because sometimes you'll be 1 HP, you'll get a strong heal and you'll be very happy. Sometimes it'll be 1 HP and it'll be handgun ammo when you already have 15. You'll be like, oh, that's sad. That's just how it works.
Yeah, this category is very strict on ammo. There you go. Yeah, 24 going into this fight. We're now going to do the infamous high five the box because we make Zoe shy.
Yeah, this one's strange. So the logic behind this little 3-second save, I like to call it skip issues because it was found by Nick's issues because his game broke. Basically, the idea is you free Zoe here and you run down to the edit box and you just give it a little smooch and then you run back upstairs and Zoe is finished with the serum 3 seconds faster.
Yeah. The only thing you need to do is go and give the sign box a kiss. There you go. Done. Turn around, come straight back up, and she'll be done. Hopefully. And she is.
Sometimes it can go wrong, and because of passing or whatever, it'll be a bit different.
But, you know, normally, it's okay.
Now, Jack 3, if you couldn't guess already, if you haven't played the game, you have to kill Jack's eyes. He has them all over his body. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 eyes, something like that line. What R's gonna do is he's gonna shoot the most important eye, which is the one in between the cracks on the floor here, under his tail. He's gonna pop it 1 time. He's gonna fall down next to Jack. He's gonna wait for Jack's iframes to end. He's gonna kill that eye that's under his stomach. Then he's gonna position himself so he can shoot Jack's right arm eye. Wait for his arm to shoot it again. You can't shoot it while it's in the air, or else bad things happen. You can wait for Jack to wind up, shoot twice in the face to get that eye. He's gonna round the other side of him to get the tail now. This is usually when you want to kill the tail eye so that you can avoid Jack from getting into weird animations. He's gonna shoot the back eye twice. Then the other eye takes 1 shot to kill. And then now the last eye is his left arm eye.
Very well done,
Pretty good
I'd say.
fight. The only thing I think even went slightly wrong was just the animation after killing the eye and the tail. It didn't stagger forever, but other than that was a really clean fight.
Yeah.
No reason.
I'll take it.
Yeah, there's one real good. Ooh, hand grenade.
That's helpful, maybe.
That being said, as per your request, I have just closed the bid war between Mia and Zoe. Unfortunately, there have been no bids towards either side, so I guess it's up to you. See whatever you feel like today.
I suppose we're picking Zoe.
That also said, because this bid war has just closed, I've opened up the Carto incentives, 2 of them, so check them out if you're interested.
Right, cool. Okay, yeah, so I get to choose. So we're going to choose Zoe. We're not on PB pace, so we may as well waste another minute of our lives.
That's one way to look at it. You get to go all Half-Life on Mia later. It's really fun. Because of Killer Gordon Freeman style.
It's just it's a reskinned Mia 1. Pretty much.
Yeah. It's like slower.
Yeah, but Mia has more health. That's pretty much it. So it makes for, you know, morally probably the correct choice. However, logically, gameplay wise, not the best choice. Especially speedrun wise. But I still feel like choosing Zoe, so we're going to go for that today. Now, we're going to take off with Zoe now in this dinghy. We get another long cutscene. However, when it all goes to poo, we turn up at the ship that Mia got wrecked on, and we're then Mia. And how she got there, don't know. Why she's there, don't know. But we go with it anyway, because don't question Resident Evil games' logic.
Yeah, you're not allowed to do that. It's against the law.
It'll also lead to significant amounts of confusion.
Significant is underselling it. It gets very, very confusing. Also, what this does is this triggers the non-canon ending of the game, which is that, spoiler alert, everyone dies except Ethan.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't notice, Aaron, I just noticed it now. When Ethan saved Zoe, Mia told Ethan, "You forget I have a job to do." She doesn't mention her job with Evelyn ever at all during the game before this. So I wonder if maybe there's some foreshadowing there. Does Ethan actually know that Mia's a bad guy already? Who knows?
I don't know. Well, I guess I don't know. I guess he kind of finds out in the way that he goes to save her and she gets completely black eyes and then tries to stab him to death.
Yeah, that might give away a little bit.
Yeah. For a lot of people who are in the chat, from maybe my chat or Ezekiel's chat, you may have never seen this ending before. Because I've only ever picked it once on stream ever. However, you pick her and she dies anyway. She calcifies and there she goes. She's dead, just like that. She was just killed. Even though she was cured anyway, she got killed by it, which makes no sense because that only happens to people who get killed while they're infected by Evelyn. They get calcified. However, don't know. You can ask me for an answer. I don't have a clue. I've played this game for hundreds of hours combined, and I still don't know why that happens. There's no reasonable explanation, unless you have one, Ezekiel, but I don't have one.
No idea.
And better yet, here we are, waking up as Mia, even though she was still at the ranch. Another thing I can't explain, and nor can the devs, most likely. But it was the non-canon ending. I think it was the one that they expected least people to choose.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, for me, it was obvious, right? Because, like, Zoe helped you do everything. I mean, and Mia's been gone for 3 years. Surely you just, you kind of like, yeah, she's your wife, but surely you get over it just a little bit, right? And logic's got to step in and be like, hey, Zoe actually put in work. She literally created the serum that you're about to... Okay, let's paint a different picture. Imagine you're Zoe, and you create a serum that will cure you and another person infected, and a homeboy shows up and uses it on his wife who tried to kill both of you.
Yeah, you get the choice of someone who's been calling you the whole game through the weirdly identical phones scattered around the Baker estate, telling you exactly what to do, warning you about things, telling you where things are, telling you where to go. And she made the serum, which then can cure... Well, it's supposed to cure your wife and her. She creates that serum. Did Mia know how to do that? No, she was too busy sat there sulking while her hands were tied up. But then you get to the... You use one of the serum, and you have the choice between that and your wife, who admittedly is your wife, but also the woman who 10 minutes into the game tried to stab you to death. And then you go and choose the one who tried to stab you to death. Really. But it's okay.
Yeah, I've been having issues with that helmet too. I don't know what it is. This cutscene, you have to walk past the helmet and turn around and triggers the cutscene. But for some reason, where I had to turn back around and do it again, I've been having that exact same problem. I don't know. Something's in the air.
I'd also like to point out these guys are identical twins.
They really are, actually.
Yep. Exactly
They
the same
also
body
sound
shape.
the same.
Exactly the same body shape. Sound the same. Got exactly the same wear, like exactly the same wear on with exactly the same stains on. Yeah, weirdly, they must be living their life in tandem or something. I'm not entirely sure.
You see, Capcom spared no expense in the art department. They made room in the budget for that one, that's for sure.
Yeah, I also forgot to bring it up earlier, but if you stand on a specific shoe in the one of the rooms in the auto scroller, Mia's mouth doesn't move when she speaks. This can be quite funny. You can get her mouth to get in quite funny positions. I forgot to mention it, but that can happen too. This game has weird things. Oh, there we go. She must have had triplets. The mother.
Yeah, there's another one. No, she had quads or some more later.
Yeah. I know the trauma that mother must have gone through. I feel quite bad for her, actually. Right, here we go. That's Evie. We've never met before, never seen her in any form. Don't know anything about her. Definitely not been scattered through the mansion. Completely different new character. You can tell because we've never seen her before. And oh, there we go. Oh no, that's a different person. Just needs a timeout. Yeah, we need to send it to the naughty corner. Right. Here we go. Here she is, standing all menacing at the top with the light coming through. And she goes, "Oh no." Because we promised we'd make a family with her or something, and Mia's really confused because she remembers none of it. At the beginning of the game, she's all telling you about how she doesn't remember sending you stuff, and you're like, well, that's just rubbish, innit? But she actually doesn't remember. And then Evie, just up these stairs, goes, watch this tape. And you watch the tape, and you remember, and then you have to try and kill her. Talking about the tape, Ezekiel.
Okay. So basically, the tape is ridiculous, right? So okay, so here's the thing about the tape. The tape used to be considered the easiest part of the game. It used to be considered the easiest part of the run because all you had to do was point A, point B, turn stuff in, and then that was it, right? Nothing different ever had to happen.
Sounds pretty easy to me.
And then nerds showed up, just a bunch of nerds, sweaty nerds. We're like, let's save some time. And now we have 3 different instances of optimization. One is called the Alan 1 skip, or as it's the Alan 1, the phone skip, or the vomit skip. Whatever you want to call it, it's the Alan 1 skip. This is Alan. We don't like Alan. Alan sucks. Don't get too attached. Alan basically tries to queue up a couple calls with us. And the idea is that we want to get out of those calls as soon as possible because he locks us behind doors. The first one is the scariest one because if you mess it up, you lose 15 seconds. The idea is there's going to be a pile of mold that Ara is going to interact with, and it's going to trigger a phone call. What Ara needs to do is trigger that phone call and be out of the room where that phone call starts by the time the call actually starts. If he does it correctly, the call will be skipped. And the reason for that is we don't know. But that's why that happens is he just needs to get in and out as soon as possible. So if you kind of mock an S, because if you messed up, you are locked in that room waiting for Alan to shut up. And that's his first skip. So we'll see it. Let's all watch in anticipation.
Right.
Cool. There's Alan 1. You see, it's kind of spooky. There is no room for error. You have to be basically at the furthest point possible from that interaction to get in and out without that having a problem. Now, the next optimization of tape, it's not really as hard on New Game as it is on New Game Plus, but basically the idea is you get in this elevator. The elevator won't move until the molded that's in the elevator is either dead or out of the elevator. So on New Game, since you have this glorified pea shooter, you need to shoot the molded until he falls out of the elevator, and then you have to hit the button before he gets back in. Yep, exactly as Ara did it there. See, a New Game, not nearly as complex as it is on like New Game Plus, where you have to kill the molded. So now this thing, I've never seen that before. You try to look at the gun, and it gave you a loading symbol. I've never seen that. That was very strange.
Such a complex image. It had to give it a load.
But now this next part, which is the third and last skip of this tape, which is called the double D skip, or the dust and distortion skip, or the bomb skip, double door skip, whatever you want to call it. It is the bomb skip essentially. The idea is getting hit here is not good because it causes him to like you got double cheap shot. That happened to me too. Getting double cheap shot means that he's missing health, obviously. He puts a bomb down, and if you haven't guessed it by now, Ara's gonna have to blow himself up with that bomb to get through that door to cancel a phone call with Alan. It's usually if you completely whiff it, it's about like I don't know, I'd say 8 to 10 second time loss, and I'm kind of spitballing. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's around that time. It's not huge, but I mean, if you're doing a run and you fail it completely by not getting hit by the bomb at all, it's a run in it. If you get the half double D skip, which is where you fall to the ground, still bad, but you only lose about half that time. Ideally, you want to blow yourself up, and you'll be pushed through the doors, which then cancels.
Will this put me in danger?
It shouldn't, as long as you get the skip. But if you get knocked down, it will put you in danger. Yeah.
Alright, cool.
No pressure. There you go.
Pretty good.
The EV skates on out of there. She's got some butter on her feet. She's out. She's got her Heelys on.
Alright, here we go. Since I'm in not good health, I'm gonna quick herb and use it. Cool.
Kind of a safety strat there to avoid dying because he's molded that he's about to run into.
Yeah, sometimes that molded I just ran past, he can cheap shot you, and that would have probably put me in danger if he hit me. Which then means that they can catch up to you and hit you again, and it's just not good. Not good news. There we go. The amount of shots that took just shows quite how bad this gun is. This is all we get. On New Game
Like,
Plus, you
literally-
get a saw, and you get a big, like, massive, like, ultra magnum.
If you look at the Albert compared to this, it's just not even comparable. The Albert one shots to the head. This thing takes 20 bullets.
You know how many damage per bullet it does?
Offhand, no.
Damn.
Trying to remember.
Because if you take into consideration that the shotgun does 800 a shell, and you were to compare that to the amount that this gun does.
Yeah, so the machine gun does 50 damage a bullet. So I'm not a mathematician or anything.
16 shots to be equivalent to one shotgun shell. 16 of them. That's 2/3 of this whole clip.
The connections are the ones, the people that Mia worked for. And they had to have supplied her this gun. I don't know who's working in that ballistic department, but they certainly have not taken into account the financial impact wasting ammo like that has to have. There's
Yeah,
just
maybe-
no way.
Maybe the other guns might be more expensive. Maybe. However, the amount of money you're going to save on, like, significantly less ammo. It's ridiculous.
And now Alan dies. Away she goes.
It's okay though. Natural selection. He was kind of stupid. He grows up, had a bad dinner maybe, but then he thinks it's a good idea to just throw up all over us. He's just kind of going everywhere. Didn't think to turn around or anything.
Yeah, that's rude, actually.
Yeah. He pushes you off, but then he just manages... He pushes you off and then falls in your direction anyway. So did it really matter? No. And now we've just been covered in Evelyn's something. I'm not really sure what this is. Mold, I think. Yeah, mold.
Yeah, it's the mold, basically. It's how
Yeah.
she, like, infects and controls people.
So I think this... Is this the point at which Mia's now infected?
Yes, this is the point where she basically becomes possessed, quote-unquote, by Evelyn.
Yeah. This is why social distancing... Exactly! Imagine if Mia had stayed 6 feet, 2 meters apart from Alan, then maybe all of this wouldn't have happened. And that's, you know, especially in times like these, this game teaches you a lesson. Here we go. So that's the end of the tape. The tape actually went incredibly well. That was a very good tape. None of the skips went wrong. Overall, pretty good. Chat says that normally that gun, the Bison, would be quite powerful in real life, and it comes from Russia.
Oh.
There you go.
PP
That's it.
Bison?
Apparently, yeah.
This is
PP
what
Bison.
they're referring to? Yeah, it's modeled after the PP Bison. But they just call it the submachine gun.
6 meters would have worked. 6 meters would have been better, really. Yeah. I think Mia would have definitely preferred 6 meters. Especially from that. I don't know what you'd have to eat to throw up like that, but clearly it wasn't good. I don't know how long this voyage is, but maybe maybe all the food was significantly out of date.
Could have been. I mean, it probably, like, is.
Yeah, there you go. There's 2 life lessons in one cutscene. Don't eat horrifically out of date food, and social distance 6 meters from every single person in case they throw up on you. 6 meters away from the ship.
I would say, though, if you are vomiting 6 meters and hitting people, you should probably speak to a doctor already.
Yeah,
That is some impressive distance.
See a
at least call
licensed
Ripley to
professional.
believe it. Yeah, right?
As a medical professional, I can disclose to you, yes, it is possible.
Possible, but severely not advised.
No.
All right. There you go. You just learnt 3 things. See? This is an educational speedrun.
Yeah, you thought you're just going to see some spooky stuff. You're not wrong. But now you're also learning.
Missed it. See? Resident Evil 7. It's more than just a speedrun. It's a learning adventure with your chat. Place the bomb down there, and that blows up that guy. Lag's good. Sorry, guys. Wasn't the watch missing on her left hand in the scale animation? Oh, ladder animation. I don't know. That's something... Maybe. But yeah, oh yeah, she doesn't have her watch in... She doesn't have her watch here. Because we're not on the tape anymore.
Oh, yeah, right.
So I thought that's something that after playing this for probably combined about 500 hours, I just never noticed. But no, it's just we're not in the tape anymore, so she wouldn't have her health watch. That's a great invention, though. 3 colors to signify what health you're at.
Could you imagine having that in, like...
You see it,
just like in today's time?
yeah, you see it drop down to yellow for no reason, and then you can just go to a doctor. That'd be...
Doc?
Yeah.
I'm not feeling too good.
Yeah, my magic watch changed to yellow.
Everyone has their government-issued magic watch.
Yeah. Right. Here we go. That was the... We're coming to the end of ship now.
Mhm. The ship, see, once you get past tape, the game kind of stops and slows down a bit. Where it basically, you're not really doing skips for a short amount of time, and there's like no real danger, I guess, outside of the tape. Because the tape gets real Monka-esque very fast, and then after that, it's just like, kind of chills out a bit.
Thinking about it, if we had all of the things medicinally that they have in Resident Evil, imagine how far forward our society would be. You go to the doctor for a rapidly declining color on your magic health watch, and they prescribe you with magic green juice made from herbs sourced from somewhere. Oh, this guy's been stubborn. He never does this. And you're instantly cured.
There's it's a mountains. I'm forgetting the name of the mountains. The herbs are from a mountain.
Arclay Mountain.
Arclay, yeah, that's where it's like that's where they're from, I think.
Isn't the Arclay Mountains where the first mansion was? Is that right?
No, the first mansion was in Raccoon. Or outside Raccoon, I thought. I could be wrong. I don't know. Just kind of guessing on that one.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure at all.
In this cutscene, very sad.
Yes, in the Arclay. Well, the Arclay Mountains are outside Raccoon City.
Oh, okay.
So we were both right.
See, I knew we could figure it out.
Yeah, Ethan. Well, Ethan's been covered in it, but that's okay because he was already infected, so it's not so bad. If you notice in this as well, I mean his shadow's a bit weird. He has no body. If you'd like to notice, just a head and a neck and some arms. The lantern's in here to signify Marguerite because she's died. I don't know why Zoe's here because she's also dead technically, isn't she? Oh wait, no.
I mean,
wait,
canonically, no.
But this isn't the canon ending. Oh wait,
Yeah,
talking about non-canonically, we've got another boss fight coming up in a second. Forgot about that.
Right. We got Mia 3.
Got Mia
the
3.
legendary Mia 3.
As far as I know, the reason that Zoe's there is because in the one DLC where you play as Jack's brother, you rescue her from her calcified state.
Yeah.
Yep,
I do believe.
that is right. That is correct. It's just the confusion is that technically the game state is in non-canon mode, but I don't think the Capcom thought that far ahead.
I don't think Capcom realized that it would ruin their non-canon ending if they had this cutscene in it. Because technically she should be dead right now following the non-canon ending. However,
Basically,
what can you do?
yeah, basically everyone shows up in Eevee's subconscious if they're still alive.
Yeah.
The reason Marguerite's not there because she's the only Baker family member who's dead. The reason Lucas is not there is because Lucas is the only Baker family member who is not infected.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, he takes some kind of like suppressant for the infection. That's right.
It's something like that. It's supplied to him from the connections.
Yeah, pretty much he is employed by the connections, the bad guys, the guys who made Evelyn, to relay information about Evelyn and the family to them. So they're giving him suppressants as to act like he's still infected, but actually not infected. Right. Who's ready for a recycled boss fight with recycled dialogue?
Spoiler alert. He dies.
Yeah. In the canon ending, we fly away. Oh, where's the crowbar again? Oh yeah, back here.
It's gonna be directly behind you. Basically, the idea behind this fight is to swing at her. I would say there's a strat, but there isn't, because this is not a routed fight. If
So-
I've had to kill Mia in this boss fight numerous times on the in the marathons due to people voting for Zoe, and I mean, if I had to take a guess, like there's not many people who have done that, so we don't have much for routes on that one. it's just something you're kind of forced to do if you have to.
Yeah, that's a fight that is literally just a recycled Mia 1. You just pick up a crowbar instead of an axe, and then recycled. She has the exact same line at the end of the fight as she does at the end of the Mia section and the canonical ending. They couldn't even be bothered to record other voice lines. Yeah, it's rough.
They spared no expense.
Well, the crowbar is now in Mia's gut. I don't know. We should have picked it up. I wouldn't have minded playing the last bit of the game with a crowbar.
It actually won't let you pick it back up.
Yeah, it's a shame. Maybe they should have added a reason to play this version of the game on a speedrun by just making it significantly overpowered. One slicing Evelyn with the crowbar.
That would be very interesting.
Yeah. Right, here we go. It's nighttime here in the baker's farm, and in 10 minutes time when we do the last boss fight, it's going to be daytime. I don't know how. Time changes a lot in this game very quickly. Go into guest house, 10 minutes later, it's now nighttime. It was completely bright outside. 10 minutes later, completely dark, stormy. How? Don't know. I'm gonna get button skip.
I respect it. Button skip is basically a little skip you can get if you time getting the button press animation with a molded hitting you. It's like... Did you get button skip? I didn't notice actually.
Yeah, I did.
God Gamer.
Do a run in which you fight Evie with nothing but harsh light. Cuss her out. I mean, she probably doesn't know very many words. She's like a 9-year-old, right?
Yeah, she's only 9.
Yeah, only 9.
Did you know swear words when you were 9?
No, I barely know how to speak when I was 9.
It's not that long ago.
Right. Let's this game will be done now in about 7 minutes.
Yeah, we're just about. Now we're at the now it gets a little bit more Monka-esque towards this part of the game where we're now going towards mines. The catch with mines on New Game versus New Game Plus is that you don't have the benefit of infinite ammo, so you kind of have to be a little bit smarter with it. But because you have the shotgun and the shotgun's ammo, you can basically make do, and it's just as fast. The idea of the mines, once you get to the gauntlet, is that you don't want to get touched. If you get touched, that means you either like did something incorrectly, or you just weren't a gamer enough, I suppose.
And now we go over to the box. Picked up, I think, a key for good luck.
What he's doing here is he's basically, you have to wait for that serum to be finished making before you can actually press on and grab it. So he's using that downtime to go and grab items out of the item box and a couple neuro and fire shots for himself for the grenade launcher, because he's going to need those to finish off the mines. So that's why he walked away when he did.
Yeah. You have, I don't know how much time there is, but you have, I'd say, about 10 seconds, maybe a little more, just to go to the item box, take everything you need, get the grenades if you need the fire grenades as well, and then get back to it. And you ideally want to be back there before you can interact with it, but on New Game especially, that's very difficult. On New Game Plus, it's not as bad because you don't have to fetch the grenade, but that takes an extra couple of seconds, or second, let's say. Right. Yeah, you wanna get through these mines without stopping. Is pretty much what you want to be doing. Let's hope that's how it goes.
That's definitely the idea behind it here. So he's gonna run up and shoot. Like he shot the first bullet, past the second one. Now this big one, you can try and pop it with a shotgun in the head. That's a good shot. That one's harder to hit. That guy's damage resistant. He has a crawler up here. He's going to want to take out as he walks past it, and then avoid this one that just fell in front of him. Then he'll get these two guys blocking his way. He only has to kill one. Good shots. He didn't really get stopped at all, so that was actually really good. Now the thing with these two fat molded underneath the ladder is you have to stun them or kill them to get up. So he is going to stun them with the Neuro shot. And the idea behind that is just so he can get up the ladder without getting knocked down.
Yeah. If you don't freeze them, they'll vomit on you and you'll fall all the way back down the ladder. It's a real pain, but that Neuro shot freezes them for just long enough that you can get up without any problems. Oh, cool. I'd say overall, apart from Marge 2, this has been a pretty successful run.
Yeah, definitely not bad for the most part.
Where most of my time save, where most of my time loss came from. I mean, obviously apart from the fact we chose Zoe. But... yeah, this is the only time in the game, I think, well, one of two times we get a glimpse of Ethan from the third person. One of them being when we turn into Mia and we go see him, and the second time being just then, where we get to watch ourselves being thrown through the wall.
Oh yeah, because now we're in this perspective where we get to see what Evelyn was doing to Mia the whole time.
Yeah. Obviously, we couldn't see that because we weren't infected quite yet. Well, not infected nearly as bad as she was, at least. But now we're very infected. We can see her walking around and dancing and prancing and whatever and having her fun. And she comes over here and tells us that she wants to play some games because she's a child. And then we show her a cure and she gets really scared and has a tantrum like a regular child. And
yeah, I suppose that's all you can really expect. Yeah, like
yeah.
If you were a child about to be cured, quote unquote, you'd probably be a little upset.
Just a little. A 9-year-old being told that you're going to be cured. Alright, this is very difficult. I've been failing this a lot recently.
Yeah, so this is the EV1 cycle. Basically what Ara wants here is he wants to inject Evelyn as soon after the first block without getting hit by the second one. So he's going to run at an angle, try to mash into her. Nice. I've also been messing up on that, so it's nice to see at least somebody get it.
Yeah. I've lost 2 runs that were on excellent pace recently due to that. I was like -10 or something, and I lost like all my time save, and then I got hit through my block. So it wasn't a great time, and it's not a great time when you miss that.
It's really bad, because if you get knocked down, then you have to eat another blast, and sometimes after everyone does her third blast, she'll instantly do another one. Yeah. Which is really sad. And
she can also hit you through your block with the blasts if you're at the wrong angle. Which is stupid. Bad. Right, now we're going to quick shot, which is pretty much where you aim in and out very quickly, ADS and un-ADS, and she... and for some reason you can fire quicker.
The idea is it takes 19 enhanced handgun bolts to kill Evelyn there.
Yeah. And she picks you up with the tentacle here. With a tentacle, she picks you up and like dangles you. And you have to shoot her in the tentacle to get rid of it. However, the old strat we use with the shotgun turns out to be very inconsistent, just from the fact that the shotgun has spread. So if the shotgun spread's not in your favor, you can go from being on, I don't know, the first sub 130 pace ever to being 2 seconds off because you got bad spread.
Yeah, it's a good thing that's never happened.
No, never.
Who would ever imagine? Right?
2 ridiculous scenarios we suggested this stream, both of which would never happen.
Never. Certainly not to either of the 2 people right now on
no,
commentary we're playing.
No. Anyway, this is the end of the run, pretty much. We just got to fire this gun 4 times, and then she'll have a bit of a mad one. She'll go dancing for a bit, and then she'll fall down and calcify, and that's the end of her. Alright. There we go. I'll call time in a second. Can waste all the bullets here, we don't need them. Somehow Ethan also manages to, I don't know how tall the drop is, but I'd say maybe what, 20 feet? Maybe more than that from the ground. Lands, groans slightly, and then is completely fine. Right, I'll call time in a second. And time.
Nice job.
Cool. That was pretty good.
Pretty good.
Apart from,
yeah, the March stuff was
Yeah.
like obviously a little sad, but other than that, everything else was pretty good.
that's cool. Awesome. Yeah, again, I'm Aragold. I'm a Resident Evil speedrunner. I'm Aragoldmate on Twitch, and what? Oh, I just got a I got a Windows achievement for getting the second ending. So yeah, thank you all for having me. Thank you, BSG for having me. Thank you, Captain Ezekiel, for commentating. Yeah, I speedrun numerous RE games. I'm doing a lot of RE2 right now. And yeah, Ezekiel is a great RE7 runner. You'll see him on Twitch as well, Captain Ezekiel. And he's better than me. So you should definitely go and check him out. I'd highly recommend it. Yeah, so if we could hand over back to the organizers.
Okay, thank you very much, Era. That was really, really interesting run to see. Really cool. We will be going into an intermission screen in the meantime to set up for our next game. As was announced before, unfortunately the runner couldn't make it for a Resident Evil 2 run, so instead our very own Rushla is kind enough to stay awake a bit longer and show us some Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets any percent. So we'll be switching to intermission screen, setting up for that game, showing a few ads in the meantime, and this is me signing off. Good night everyone!